Next thing we'll be talking about today is a backup cue. Backup is just a great way to ask your dog for some space. Big times I tend to use this would be around the kitchen, couch, and doorways, or really anytime you need some space from your dog, this will be a really useful command for you. I know with Pax, he is probably affectionate to a fault, so if there's ever a time where I need some space from him while I'm on the couch, backup is really effective for a lot of dogs. Door greetings are really difficult where our dogs crowd the door, they try and barge past us, things like that. Even when you're coming in with things for yourself and not necessarily with a guest, that we want our dogs to understand a way to move away from us, even if we are having our hands full, like you have kids or you're bringing in groceries, something like that. So starting really simple with Charlie here, who I don't believe knows a backup cue, we're just going to let him nibble the treat and then I'll just push his nose backwards. So back up. Yes. Any motion backwards and he gets the treat, and we make sure to give that affirmative. Back up. Good boy. Yes. Charlie, back up. Yes. Good boy. This will always be easiest if the dog is already standing. Don't be surprised if they want to drop into a sit. We do tend to tell our dogs sit is a really rewarding position, so he's going to be inclined to go to that. Back up. Good boy. But ultimately, he should know how to back up even if he is sitting. After he has done a few repetitions where I'm luring him backwards with the food, back up. Yes. Then I'll take the food away and just use my body pressure to back him up. Good boy. So I'll point and back up. Yes, good boy. As soon as he starts to move away, we affirm. I would try to make sure that yes comes pretty early. If he backs up and then comes forward and I say yes at that point, he's potentially learning that the approach is the thing I'm looking for, not the moving away is the thing I'm looking for. So again, back up. Yes, good boy. Even one step for now is fine. If after a few days of practice, all the dog is going to give you is one step or a sit or something like that, make sure you tell them no, 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 and continue to walk into their space until they back up. Back up. Yes, good boy. Very good. Charlie, come. Good boy. Good boy. Can you back up? Yes, good boy, Charlie. Some dogs may misinterpret this motion as you asking them to sit, since sit is universally like that lifting over the head. If your dog is confused by that, a couple troubleshooting ideas. One, make sure we don't have food in our hand. It's an empty hand we're pointing with. If there's food in there, the dog is going to be staring at it and that's going to drop their butt down. The other thing that you can try would be more of a shooing gesture instead of the pointing gesture. So your hand isn't going to be over their head, dropping them into that sit. Come here. Good boy. So to let Pax try, he has a lot more experience with this, so we won't even have to move into his space. Pax, back up. Good boy. Pax, back up. Good boy. Back up. And just like Pax is doing, you can send them progressively further away when they're familiar with the command. It's important, though, that our dogs understand it's not my body that is moving him, it is the cue that is moving him, and I will use my body as needed. One other thing to keep in mind with this command, and really obedience in general, is dogs take commands differently when we're standing versus when we're sitting. So if you're a work from home person or your dog crowds you during dinner time or on the couch, things like that, that they do need practice with those scenarios explicitly so that they understand when and how you're going to communicate those things to them. Set up specific training scenarios where you're sitting on the edge of the seat, you're not very comfortable because obviously it's going to be a lot less effective if we have to constantly get up. I'm not into it because I'm comfortable now, things like that. So again, we'll try with Charlie here. Ultimately though, we're trying to transition to where he will back up where I don't move. So Charlie, watch me. Good boy, back up. Yes. Again, for now, since this is new to him, I'll take the sit. That's fine. He moved away from me. If after a few days all he's doing is sitting down, I'll just move into his space to have him back up. If we want to try that sitting scenario, just to show you a little bit of what that would look like, Charlie, good boy. You can even start the same procedure, pushing him backwards, back up, good boy. Come here, good. Good boy, back. Charlie, back up, yes. And then after we've reminded him that this is the same cue he was just doing, except now I'm sitting, Charlie, back up. Good boy. Charlie, come here. Good boy. Back up. Good boy, Pax. No, no, Charlie, back up. And if he doesn't move, then I'll just use my body to help him. Charlie. Hey, watch me. Good. Back up. Yes, good boy. And then just go back to sitting. Definitely a procedure that will take some practice, especially if you haven't practiced very much sitting obedience or laying down obedience. Our dogs do not generally intuitively understand that the commands are the same standing and sitting. So to show you a little bit what it would look like after you practice, Pax, come here. So we'll do Pax, back up. Good boy. Wait. Okay, come here. Yes. So you can also add in that wait or stay cue at the end of the command so that your dog starts to figure out when you tell them to back up, it's not back up and immediately approach me, it's back up and stay there for a moment. Or if it's a I want space for a prolonged period, back them up, tell them to stay. Or for a dog that knows their bed cue, back up. Good boy, go to your bed. Good boy. And you can do something like that as well once you've created the space. But the bed cue is something we'll talk about at another time. Back up. Yes, good boy. Totally fine to give the dog extra time to figure it out as long as they're still engaged. He was giving me a lot of eye contact. I mean, you could see the wheels were turning. If he gets lost or disinterested, totally fine to repeat the command again. But in that instance, he was still really engaged trying to problem solve, so we just give him that extra time, and he did what we wanted, and he got that treat. That's our backup cue for today. Hope you enjoyed it.